if the Senate goes Democratic, it'll be a two-edged sword. There will be a lot of things that Spitzer probably won't want to happen that he'll have a hard time containing. Say for example, gay marriage. He supports gay marriage, but if it's popular with the Senate Democrats, not all of them. But do they really want to do that politically? If, for example, if gay marriage were to pass the Senate, it might very well switch back to Republican in 2 years. There are consequences to votes like that, and so it's going to be a very complicated situation for everybody involved. But the title of this seminar was "How Does Spitzer Get His Political Capital Back?" I think the one and only way is what happened yesterday, which is to win seats in the Senate, because then now he's going to be able to put issues on the agenda and make them happen.
But he's got to perform. He can't blame previous administrations, let's say for the Javits mess. At some point, he's got to put bricks into the ground. I think Javits, Moynihan.
You mean shovels?
Bricks. Either way. He's just got to get things done. Every time I read another piece in the paper about the administration blaming the Pataki administration for Javits, I said, okay, but when are you going to do something? And I think that economic development is one of the most important areas for the administration. Upstate certainly, and Gunderson, the upstate economics it has to do more. Certainly downstate, they have to get these projects that are on the agenda done. It's not just the Senate. They've got to perform in office.
Well, Jacob, you were saying yesterday that there's a lot of things he's trying to put a positive spin on, but in fact, it's really not working. You're talking about property tax. I think you mentioned property taxes, universal health care. Could you address that? Do you think he's not accomplishing what he's telling the public he's accomplishing?
Well, I think he very much has exaggerated the importance of his accomplishments. I mean, especially in his first year. He said he did more his first year than any other governor in history. And I think one of the reasons why he slipped so much in the polls is that I think voters realized that he hadn't, and in that he set the bar so high, he set expectations so high for change, and I think it was pretty transparent to voters that things really hadn't changed. And I think ultimately Spitzer is going to be judged on whether he turns New York into a state where people want to move into and not move away from. Right now, the populations, the upstate area is suffering a serious population decline. Counties are literally dying off and hemorrhaging jobs, and I think that Spitzer wants to say, look, I saved money on workers' comp. I have a new Medicaid legislation that's shifting more money away from hospitals and more money to primary care. I set a record in education spending, and I think that none of these will matter in the end if it's 4 years. People, New York is still a state in decline, and that's what it is right now. And I think he's planted some of the seeds for change, and especially with this property tax commission that he set up. A lot of people think that the only way to deal with property taxes, the problem with property taxes in the state, is to pose a cap on the school districts. And we'll see what happens with these commissions. But right now, there really hasn't been a fundamental change that he's promised. There's been cosmetic changes. He has planted the seeds, but Unless he delivers on the biggest issues, which I think is the New York economy, I think he could be in trouble in 2010.
Well, maybe each of you could address the title of the panel. Can Governor Spitzer recover his political capital? And how can he repair his relationship with Joe Bruno? And what does he need to do with Shelley Silver? So, what, George, why don't you just...
He'll never repair his relationship to Joe Bruno. Joe Bruno once told me it was a personal effort by Eliot to get rid of him, and he will, and his relationship is cannot be fixed in any way, irreparable. I do think that Eliot can easily turn things around. He needs to get some new blood into the government. You know, he's got to get an agenda going. I think the opportunity, it seems apparent that the Democrats will take the Senate soon. I think there's great opportunity there. He's got to have an agenda going. He's got to work with both houses, because even though both houses may be Democrat at some point, he's going to have a very difficult time in fighting off turf wars and other issues. And you need some knowledgeable people up there, although Bruce Giori should be good enough to deal with that. But I think Eliot, this year has passed, I think Eliot easily could